What's going on, everybody? Jared James here, and I am thrilled to be joined by a friend of mine, Miss Katie Lance. Katie, you want to say hello to everybody?
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me here today, Jared. I'm super excited to be here.
I thought I was the bright one. I've got this shirt on, and then you show up trying to steal the show with that whole bright red and green and yellow books and that whole thing going on. So anyway.
Got to change it up. Got to have fun.
Psyched to do this. I know we're going to do this quickly, but it's you are, which I'm thrilled about, going to be speaking at our advance on October 5th and 6th, which is awesome. We're getting great numbers for that. It's one of the great, live is always better. I'll just be honest. But at the same time, one of the advantages of doing something virtual like we're doing now is that, you're open to the world now. Like anybody can join in, anybody can be a part of it. And we get to have someone like you there, which is really, really cool. So I'm really thrilled about you being able to be there. I wanted to just kind of do a quick video and talk to our audience and just kind of talk about, your session, what you're going to be talking about, and maybe give them a little glimpse into what that's going to be. So you want to just take a second and kind of tell everybody what your session's going to be and what it's going to be about?
Yeah, absolutely. And first off, I'm super excited and really honored to be able to speak at Advance. It's an event that I have long admired, and I have seen it grow and seen the success that you've had. So I know you'd rather do it in person, but virtual is going to be pretty amazing. I'm pretty excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So I know it's not the same, but
I know it's, someone said, we sold a ticket recently because they were talking to someone in our sales or something. And they were like, is it going to be as good as, like if it was live in Nashville, like it was supposed to be? And my sales guy was like, of course not. He's like, now there's some advantages, everything's
Right.
recorded. You get it afterwards. We're actually renting for like the 2-day on the main stage. We're renting a mega church and doing we're going all out as far as that's concerned. But believe me, I am looking forward to 2021 and being able to have everybody there and hug everybody and see everybody and just, you know what I mean? But there are some advantages still, like I said, being able to have people like you and stuff. So what's your session? What's your session about?
Absolutely. So I'm really excited. My session is all on zero cost marketing. And this is something I'm really passionate about because, when it comes to marketing and not just social media, which is really our wheelhouse, but just marketing in general, we really believe obviously in the value of having a strategy and having a plan. But the good news is that you don't need to spend a whole lot of money. There are a lot of great free tools and low cost tools that we're going to share during our presentation, just to get you inspired and get you fired up as we launch into the new year.
What do you think? You just said something there that kind of sparked me a little bit. I was thinking about it. You said, have a plan, and it's funny because when you talk to, the majority of the audience at our event will be real estate people. Right. And, I just got off a call with a group of agents and I talked about how, it's the real estate roller coaster where people, they get slow. So they start doing stuff to get busy. Then they start managing those transactions and they're not doing any marketing. So then they close them all. And then, they get hit in the side of the leg with tumbleweed because all of a sudden there's, no business again. They're like, what do I do? And it's just this pattern that goes, back and forth and back and forth. What do you mean by, having a plan? Like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, well, I see this all the time too. I mean, we work with lots of different agents and brokers from all over the industry, and it's always sort of these peaks and valleys. And I've often said, without a strategy, you're just throwing something against the wall and hoping it sticks. It's let's try this strategy, which isn't really a strategy or a plan. So we think of a couple things. I think first and foremost, being kind of a master of your schedule and being in control of what you're doing. Yeah. I often find with social media, it can become a huge time suck, especially these days. You can get really sucked into, posts and content and stuff that's happening in the world. And so
don't you ever wonder in some of the groups, like these people who comment on everything and have an opinion on everything and are angry at people for putting, logos on their masks and whatever. I'm just like, when do you ever sell a house?
Right.
How are you always right here? Am I crazy or do you ever think that? I'm like, what?
Oh no, I 100% agree. And I think sometimes we get ourselves more into trouble in the comments anyways. It's not just what you're posting publicly, it's in all those conversations. Yeah. And I mean, I get it. I mean, the elephant in the room is there's a lot going on, right, in the world right now, of course. But I think even more of a reason to, be strategic. So, things like time blocking, it sounds simple, but just setting aside at least 10 or 15 minutes a day to make sure you're connecting with folks on social media, setting aside some time once a week or once a month to create some content. And in fact, that's one of the things we're going to talk a lot about in our presentation is how can you create content in a really low cost way? Because as you know, the name of the game right now is if you want to stand out with marketing, it's about putting out original content that's in your voice, that has your opinion, your personality, whether it's video like what we're doing now or podcast content, whatever that might be. And it is easier now than ever to do it. Part of it's just getting over, getting on camera or and making the time to do it. So don't
you hear from people like this is what I hear this from agents all the time. They'll say, well, Jared, I hear you, whatever, but I didn't get into real estate to be a content creator. That's not what and I always literally I think about it and, my older brother is a mechanic. And I think he got into, fixing cars probably even longer than I think, but 25 years ago. Right. And he didn't get into, being a mechanic fixing cars to learn how to do it on a computer. And yet if he wants a job tomorrow, he has to now know how to fix that car on a computer, And to me, I look at it the same way from a content perspective with agents. It's you may not have gotten into this game to be a content creator, but that's what you are now. If you want to have a job, if you want to be visible, if you want to be that's what you do now. Right? Do you get that from people?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people right now are still kind of looking for the easy button. I'm often asked gosh, isn't there just an app or a tool and someone who could just do it for me? Or can I just post a button and something gets blasted everywhere? And yeah, there's tools out there, but the reality is, is that social media is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And with social media, as much as I love Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, they're all rented ground. We don't own any of that.
I love that you said that because I've been talking about that a lot lately.
Yeah, I think it's so valuable. When it's something we're going to talk about during Advance is this idea is you can use social media in a smart way. You can be strategic, have a plan, but also understand that it is rented ground. So what that means is you really need to have a strategy to build your email database, which you own, that goes with you wherever you go, and to build your content library, which
I love it.
Again, over the course of time will help to attract the people you want to work with. And I can tell you, I know you've experienced this. It's the difference between attracting business versus chasing leads, right?
Yeah.
Attracting business versus chasing leads. And so when you start to put out content, not just every once in a blue moon when you have some time, but when you really get a strategy and a plan together, we do things like batching our content.
Yeah.
And maybe this might be a female thing, but because I, to do my hair and makeup, I'm okay, if I'm going to do one video, I do
the same thing. I do the same thing. I literally do this. We line it up and it's okay, what are we doing? We're doing 8 videos today. Mm-hmm. I'll shoot 2 intro or invites to a place that I'm going to. I'll shoot a Jared James show. Then we got to do 3 videos for these new brokerage clients. We got to shoot 2 videos that are going to go over completely. Yep. You probably change more than I do. I'm the guy in the room and I'm just I don't really care if I have the same outfit on.
I used to, and now I'm I don't have time for that. Let's just go.
Yeah.
Nobody cares, really.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So are you going to actually, I love that you mentioned that. I don't think you realize how in sync we are here, because you talked about, when you look at your strategy and stuff, you talked about rented space versus purchase space. And I talk about that all the time, where it's look, I'm all for, I leverage the social channels as I should, right? But I don't build my business on a rented building, meaning, for the comedians that built their business on MySpace, that didn't work out too well, right?
Right.
You talked about database. To me, database allows you to be direct to consumer. It's the one thing that doesn't change. People's emails and cell phones, people still have their Netscape emails forwarding to their Gmail. It's one of those types of things that really doesn't, are you going to be touching it all on that as part of what you're teaching? I wasn't aware you were or not.
We are. Yeah. So
love that.
Because I like I said, I love social media. I mean, we have our whole business is based on social media, but you can't ignore the fact that email marketing is still a critical piece of it. I often will say it's like the kissing cousin, to social media. And I
think it's still the number one form.
Exciting. Yes.
I mean, I was on, I don't know if you saw, I did a video with Russell Brunson, who's a big internet marketing guy. I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but he's big internet marketing guy. And offline, when he and I are talking and we're not being recorded or anything, when we talk about the number one form of marketing still, it's not as sexy, but it's email. Nothing pushes registrations, pushes views, pushes, whatever, like that email marketing. And people will say things like, well, on a high end, you'll get a 20% open rate. And I'm like, what marketing are you doing with a 20% rate? Like what, that's astronomical. It's amazing. Right.
Exactly.
So that's awesome. I didn't even realize you were going to be talking about that. That's super, super valuable.
Well, and it's one thing for someone, I often say it's one thing for someone to like you on Facebook or they follow you on Instagram, but it's a whole other thing for them to opt into your email list and say, yes, please send me more email. Right.
Yeah.
And so, we're definitely going to talk about that. And really, again, the good news is you don't have to be a graphic designer. You don't have to, there's some really simple things that you can do even today. Even if you've got 10 people on your phone that you could put into a database, like that's we all started somewhere, and that's a great place to start. So we're definitely going to cover that for sure.
That's awesome. I love too, you talked about video and those things. Like, I think the part of video that people kind of underplay is it's the gift that keeps giving. Meaning that we had literally just earlier today, I don't know if it was one of our students or one of our coaches. We have a group on Facebook called Jared James Coaching. And either one of our students or one of our coaches posted in there and posted a screenshot of somebody that reached out to them based on a video they had for advice for a seller from 3 years ago. Wow. And, what's really important, like you use the word, and again, because I use the same word. I call it a library. I'm like, right now, you're either creating your library or you're not. And the winners of tomorrow have a library, right? And so that was a perfect example, because when you look at it, they created that video. And what's really unique about our industry is that there's such turnover in potential clients, meaning that same video that doesn't apply to 9 out of 10 people in your market today, and there's only one that it applies to, a year from now, that one that it applied to, it doesn't apply to anymore. And now these 2 others that it didn't apply to, it now applies to, but it's the same content. It just, the potential clientele keep turning over, and yet the same information is valuable to them. And that is, to me, the beauty of the library. I get comments all day long on my YouTube stuff. They come through and it's like somebody who, this is gold. I shot it 5 years ago. I'm like, holy crap. Now I'm starting to wonder, like, what did I say on there? Was it right? Was it, whatever. But like when you create that library, it's from a marketing perspective, it's just the gift that keeps on giving, right? I mean, I
love that.
Good stuff. Yeah, it is.
It's so true. I mean, it has a really long-term effect. And you think of other things that you create, a tweet lasts like 30 seconds, a Facebook post lasts a couple hours, but a video, especially on YouTube, which we're going to touch on in our presentation also, it has a very, very long shelf life. And it's, it's not just to, share and promote right now. Like you said, the library effect is really powerful. One of the things we do is anytime we have clients or prospects reach out to us and they might ask a question, of course, we answer the question, we try to help them, but more often than not, we also have a video or two that goes along with what we're talking about. So we'll also say, hey, and by the way, this video and this video might be additionally helpful for you. So feel free to check that out. And so that's a win-win. Now we're increasing our views, but we're also, providing a lot of value. And now they're looking at our YouTube library going, holy cow, right?
Exactly.
And so it's a real sure.
Yeah, that is the YouTube vortex, right? Like, we didn't plan this out, but I do that all the time. Like people will, I always tell people, hey, I'll respond to DMs and stuff on social within reason, obviously, and whatever. But like, a lot of times what happens is they'll ask questions and I'm like, I got a video for that. And I'll either go and, take the video and send it back, or I'll say, go search YouTube, Jared James blank, whatever, and you'll see it. And then the beauty of that is, again, like this isn't a video on having a library, but it's just so powerful. Right. They now go into that YouTube vortex of like, they're watching video after video. It's like, hey, this one's recommended too. This one's recommended too. And the beauty in that from an agent perspective, forget about you and I for a second. Let's talk about it from an agent perspective, is that, the phone is the TV now. And when someone's watching you on the phone, it like lifts you up. It puts you up on a pedestal. You are now the educator. You are now, who they're watching on their screen, like they used to watch the TV and everything else. And it just gives you an advantage now when you meet with them, when they're comparing you against XYZ and you're over here looking for the exact same job. And they're like, oh my God, I've watched so many of your things. I've taken so much of your advice. I know that you know what's going on. It just puts you in a completely different category than somebody who's sitting back and not doing it because, they've got a pimple on their face or something. So they're, they won't shoot a video, so that's
Exactly.
awesome.
And then they feel like they know you. I mean, I often say what the side benefit, or really one of the main benefits to putting out video content or any content like that, is people will reach out, and I know you get this all the time. People say things like, I see you everywhere, and
Right.
I feel like I know you. And when those people are ready to work with you, they're ready to work with you. They're not shopping around calling 12 different realtors. No, they know you. And now
they're down the funnel. They're down the funnel.
Exactly. And then you have the choice. Are they right for you? Right. And so it's a really powerful place. And one last thing I'll just mention real quick that I'm also going to touch on during advance is obviously video, but also the power of when you create original content. We call it pillar content, right? Mm-hmm. Pillar content obviously is something that sometimes takes a little bit of time, sometimes money, sometimes resources. Videos, pillar content. So Facebook Live is pillar content, podcast content. But the beauty of that is to be able to slice and dice and repurpose that. Not just spray and pray, not just put the same thing everywhere, but I know you do a ton of this, or we repurpose content. You turn a video into a blog post. We share it, through an Instagram story today, an Instagram story in a few weeks, over the course of time. So we're going to cover that and kind of go a deep dive in how we do it and how some of our clients do it too. So.
That's awesome. That's super valuable because and by the way, that's one of the advantages of the fact that it is virtual, is that there's this hands-on stuff you can do and this screen share stuff you can do. And here's you're going to share like specific tools and that kind of stuff, or no?
Yeah, I've got tons of specific tools and apps and examples and lots of good stuff. It's not just going to be pie in the sky. Hey, marketing is great. No, you're going to get the goods.
You got to do it. Stuff. When you don't feel like doing it, you still got to do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, it's And again, with it being recorded, now you can go back and people can go at their own pace and really try to implement something as a result of what they learn. And just that little piece right there. I say this all the time, like, this isn't just like, okay, hey, you should do it. It's good, whatever. Like, watch what we're doing. Yeah. Like, if you want to know what's working, don't just listen to what I'm saying or you're saying. Watch what we're doing. Yeah. There's a reason why we're repurposing that stuff and putting them out on different platforms. And, I get from people all the time, whenever I hear the question, which platform should I be on? I'm like, to me, that's like asking, what piece of clothing are you going to wear today? Like, should I just wear pants? We good? Right. How about a pair of socks and just leave the rest all natural? Like, that's how it sounds to me when people say, which one should I be on? Like, don't decide for your audience.
It's like picking your favorite child, right?
What's that?
It's like picking your favorite child.
Yeah. My God. I mean, seriously, it's just like, so I love that you're going to do that. I think it's going to be I know it'll be super helpful and valuable. You've done it enough times, obviously. So that's just a few things that are going to go on. There's more that you're going to talk about, which I think will be super valuable to everybody who's watching right now. I mean, literally, if you go to jaredjamestoday.com/advance, tickets are $199. That includes the recording as well. So it's not only all of the live stuff that goes on, but for 12 months afterwards, all the recordings, the slides, the templates, the scripts, I mean, my God, what I've wasted $199 on in the last week. Yet this is one of those things where it's just like, it's dinner, you know what I mean? Yeah. So worth it. So worthwhile. So thrilled to have you there. For everybody who's watching right now, how can they get in touch with you? If you want them to get in touch with you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the best place is probably just my website, katielance.com. We have hundreds of free resources. And of course, I'm on social. So, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you'd like, at Katie Lance. So send me a message, tag me on a post. Let me know that you're coming to Advance. Let me know that you watch this, and I would love to connect. Yeah. So katielance.com, you do a ton with that. You do a ton, I know, with helping you people with social and all that kind of stuff as well. Honestly, this session alone would be worth $199. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. It's going to be awesome. And then we'll all work towards 2021 when we can do it again in person. Katie, seriously, I'm so psyched to have you come in here, or I guess not really come anywhere, but do the doing the interwebs, being a part, exactly, of the event. I think it's going to be awesome for everybody. So sincerely, thank you so much. It's going to be so great. Any closing words? Don't miss out. Come to Advance, you guys. $199. That's ridiculously a great deal. I literally think I spent that yesterday on Amazon. I was about to say, I'm sure there's going to be a package at my door when I get home that was more than $199. Exactly. And I only believe that because today ended in a Y.
So
exactly.
I'm pretty sure that
it's just too easy with Amazon. So
God.
yeah, you guys sign up. The lineup's amazing. I'm super excited. I'm totally honored to be a part of it. Such great content. So yeah, get signed up.
Awesome. jaredjamestoday.com/advance. Everyone, you guys know we love you. We will see you on the interwebs. You can always connect with either one of us. Say hello. Mine, you can just go to connectwithjared.com. It's all there. With Katie, go to katielance.com. She's a great follow. And I believe also responds to people too when they reach out. If not, it would be an awkward statement I just made here live for everyone to see. But guys, thank you. We'll see you at the advance. Thanks so much, Katie. Appreciate it.
Thanks.